In the heart of a quiet Arizona suburb, one woman ruled with fear. They called her Karen the Enforcer, the HOA tyrant who fined veterans, tore up flowerbeds, and humiliated good families. But the day she tried to ruin one man's life, she picked the wrong house, because behind that peaceful porch was a man who spent 30 years hunting predators for the FBI, and now he was hunting her. James and Linda Mercer had finally found the quiet life they'd always dreamed of. After 30 years in Washington, D.C. and one grueling career in law enforcement, James had retired to a gated community in Lake Ridge, Arizona. His past was sealed behind him like a locked drawer. To neighbors, he was just a polite, silver-haired gentleman who loved gardening and grilled a mean steak. But not to Karen. Winslow. Karen was the self-appointed queen of the Oakfield HOA, blonde bob, power walk, and a clipboard always glued to her hand. She didn't just enforce the rules, she made people miserable with them. It started small. A note on James's door about his non-compliant mailbox, which was too dark in color. Then a warning about his American flag hanging too low. Linda brushed it off. She's just insecure, she laughed. Power's all she has. But Karen wasn't looking for order, she was looking for control. James remained calm, even as neighbors began whispering about Karen fining people for things as absurd as overly emotional Halloween decorations or too many solar lights. Linda urged him to push back. James shook his head. Never escalate with a control freak. Let them hang themselves. Still, it was hard to ignore the changes. An elderly widow fined $500 for a cracked walkway. A single mom threatened with eviction over her child's basketball hoop. People stopped going outside. The neighborhood felt watched. Then one morning, James found a bright orange citation taped to his tulip bed. Unapproved landscaping, subject to removal. That was the last straw. Karen escalated. She called an emergency HOA meeting without notifying James or Linda there. She proposed a rule change. All garden designs must be pre-approved by the board, retroactive to 12 months. Her fake vote passed unanimously because she was the only one in attendance. The next day workers arrived without knocking. They began tearing up James's flower beds. Linda screamed. James stepped outside, calm but firm. Stop, this is private property. The landscaper shrugged. We were hired by the James walked straight up to Karen, clipboard in hand like a weapon. You're trespassing, you've overstepped. She smiled like a serpent. You don't scare me, we have jurisdiction. James didn't flinch. You're bluffing, and you're violating at least 3 sections of Arizona State Code. She turned red. Oh, and what would you know about law, Mr. Retired? There was a pause. I know more than you ever will, he said, voice low. And if you don't walk away now, you're going to learn what happens when you abuse your power. Karen tried to maintain her authority, but something in James's eyes made her hesitate. She left in silence, but she wasn't done. 2 days later, a violation package arrived. 15 citations, fence height, lawn length, paint color, you name it. Over $2,300 in fines, and a court summons. James opened the envelope slowly. Linda sat beside him, heart racing. What are you going to do? She whispered. James stood, walked into the bedroom, and opened a locked case he hadn't touched in years. Inside was a worn ID badge. FBI Special Agent James Mercer Ret. It's time she met the... James didn't just hire a lawyer. He built a case. Through FOIA requests, public complaints, and digging into HOA bylaws, he exposed years of misconduct. Karen had been fining residents for rules that didn't exist. She had forged board votes, altered minutes, and pocketed vendor kickbacks from her cousin's landscaping company. Karen walked into the courtroom thinking it was a simple civil matter. She didn't expect her opponent to present a full investigation. She didn't expect sworn affidavits from frightened neighbors. She definitely didn't expect to see her own voice recordings, captured via a hidden device James legally placed near her visit to his yard. The courtroom was dead silent as the audio played. Karen's voice, he won't fight back. These people are sheep. I'm the only one who can run this place. The judge looked livid. By the end of the day, Karen wasn't just losing her position, she was facing charges for fraud, harassment, and unlawful trespassing. When court adjourned, she tried to flee the room. James stepped in her path. I told you, he said, voice firm, you messed with the wrong man. She stared up at him, pale. And then she turned and walked out, defeated. With Karen removed, the community held a special election. For the first time in years, real people got to vote. No secret meetings, no threats, just unity. James refused to run for HOA president. He said he'd had enough leadership for one lifetime, but he helped rewrite the bylaws, ensuring no one could ever abuse the system again. Linda organized a block party. Neighbors emerged from behind curtains, bringing casseroles and cornhole boards. It felt human again. As for Karen, she left the neighborhood under a storm of civil lawsuits. Her name was mud in the local papers. Her real estate license under review. James never gloated. He simply watched justice play out. One night, as he and Linda sat under the stars, she turned to him. "I didn't know you still had it in you." He smiled. "Sometimes you need to remind people that peace is a choice, but so is strength. In every neighborhood, there's someone who thinks power is theirs to hold forever. But justice has a way of finding those who hide behind rules." Karen tried to control a community and met a man who once brought down criminals for a living. She thought he was just a retiree. She didn't know he was the law.